All right, we are back here doing a little bit of pop culture of the podcast, talking Holy Moley. Since we are doing golf this week, joining me today, you heard from him last week talking about the Rangers, but you do hear his voice every week in the intro and the outro of the podcast. The great Pete Consadori is here. Pete, how are you?
That was so official.
Yeah.
That whole bed you had there, that just made me feel so important, like I was part of pop culture like that. But yeah, no, I'm doing great. It's great to be back on. Always love coming on the podcast here. So I'm excited to talk a little Holy Moly today.
Yeah, it's also funny. Yeah, I played that bum. I was thinking about it, like, you know what? Like, that bum is the complete opposite of how seriously Holy Moly takes itself.
Oh, 100%.
We talked.
100%.
Yeah, we talked about it before. We talked. I think we did the hockey movie. You said you're watching this show, and I said, you know what? Like, the season is fun at Holy Moly. Let's go a little deeper.
I'll be honest with you. Season 2, the sequel, a lot better than season 1. I don't know if you watched season 1, but season 1 was almost like the test run, if you will, and then they saw how much they can kind of get away with. Yeah. And I have to say, season 2 is phenomenal.
Yeah, season 1, it was basically, here's the formula. These are the holes. We always end on the same hole. Now, like, let's go nuts. Let's add more holes. Let's mix things up. Let's get, like, crazier, like, cryons in there. Like, add some more gags. It's a lot more fun.
Right.
I do think, like, I'm enjoying this a lot more because they sort of have built up their own little mythos, their own little running gags. I do enjoy all that, and I just...
Oh, there's a ton of running gags. I mean, I suggest if you want to get into Holy Moly for the listeners out there, I believe I watch it on Hulu, but I don't know what other streaming services it may be on.
Yeah.
However, I would watch it from the beginning of season 2. You don't have to watch season 1. Obviously, the 2 seasons aren't going to correspond, but if you watch it from the first episode of season 2, you'll get all the running jokes, and you'll get the chemistry between Joe Tessitore and Rob Riggle, and it's just I have to say, for a show that is not supposed to be serious, it's very, very, like, eye catching. You get sucked in because there's also a sport element to it as well.
Yeah, it also helps until we got baseball back, we really had like no sports, and then like this is sort of like, I know it's wacky competition where people are getting like thrown in the water and they're getting hit with windmills, but like you're sitting there like, man, they gotta drill this putt. Like, this is a lot of pressure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, at one of the holes, they set people on literal fire. Yes. Obviously, they're safe; they're wearing fire suits, but they literally set people on fire, and they're putting while on fire. I can't stress that enough. And I'll be honest with you, if I'm on fire trying to putt, the first thing I'm thinking of is this fire going to penetrate the suit and kill me.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm not thinking about, am I going to hit this putt in 2? So, yeah. So it's again, if you haven't watched this show, for the listeners out there, very unique. Definitely give it a shot. Hour episodes, so if you watch it, you stream it, it'll be about like 47 minutes and change, 46 minutes and change. Definitely a watch. It's definitely a good watch.
Yeah, you can catch up in a day if you want to. And I will say, for the conceit, for those who have not seen or did not hear Pete and I talk about it last time, combine a ridiculous mini golf course with Wipeout. That's Holy Moly.
Yep. Well, there is obstacle. I mean, it's not as intense of an obstacle course because Wipeout, that was the whole premise of it, right? It's get through the obstacle course and you win, or if you have the fastest time, or if you stay on, the platform long enough, you win the round or whatever. This is, hey, you're playing golf, and if you mess up during these little activities we give you, you have a stroke penalty.
Yeah.
And it really messes with people's games sometimes. It's really a make it or break it moment if they don't complete the obstacle, because they'll be down by 1 stroke and they'll lose just because they fell in the water one time, or they didn't make it through the windmills on Dutch Courage or anything like that. Double Dutch Courage, I believe it's called.
Yeah, the first season it was Dutch Courage. Now it's double Dutch Courage. They had a second windmill.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that whole. And what's your favorite part of the show?
It has to be the banter and the commentating by Joe Tessitore and Rob Riggle. I think those two are a match made in heaven when it comes to sport commentating. Obviously, Joe Tessitore is very relaxed on this show. I believe he's commentated professional sports in the past, and that's how he got this gig, because they thought he would be a good fit for it. And Mike, you'll back me up on this. His commentary is super analytical. He makes it sound like he's taking it seriously, and then Rob Riggle will jump in and he'll make Joe laugh, and Joe will start making jokes, and they work really well together. And it's just the one-liners, the one-line zingers that come from those two probably make the whole show like that much better. Like, if I was just watching it with like regular commentating, I may not put it on every week. I may just binge it at one point or say, hey, I want to see who wins or whatever. But like, it wouldn't be such a following for me if it wasn't for those two. So I have to say it's the announcing and the commentating by Rob Riggle and Joe Tessitore.
Oh, absolutely. They've been fantastic. I do love their banter. It's great. And then, like, they've really expanded on giving them, like, bits. Like, there was an episode this season where Rob Riggle was just obsessed with Josh Duhamel for the entire hour. And I was dying laughing at that.
And Joe was like, I guess I'm doing this alone. And Rob is, like, creepily behind Josh Duhamel, just, like, looking at him.
Yeah.
and then they get Josh in the booth. I mean, they have fun with it. That's what radiates from this show. Right? Like sometimes you wish a commentator in professional sports would have fun with it, right? Yes, they understand they have to be professionals and they have to do their jobs and make it exciting for the team that you're watching, especially if it's a home crowd broadcast.
Yeah.
You know, you have to make it exciting for those fans. But like some of these guys, they got to lighten up a little bit, right? Like they got to crack a joke every once in a while. And some commentators are good at that. You know, I can't name names because I've seen it once in a blue moon and I forgot who was doing it. But like, you know, I'm sure an NFL broadcast or an NHL broadcast or MLB broadcast would be that much better if there was a little bit of relaxed kind of mood to it. Do your job. Make sure you're commentating everything. That's why maybe hockey is a little bit harder because it's so fast paced. But still, like give us a little entertainment as well. You know.
Yeah, the two I thought of when you were talking about that, Doc Emmerich and Tony Romo in the NFL. Those are the two I think will just have so much fun with their jobs.
Right. So Doc Emmerich, you can just hear the passion in his voice. I mean, a lot of people that I speak to, which is very odd, don't like Doc Emmerich. And I can't understand why. Maybe it's the way his voice, takes a shot. Like, I don't know how, if that's the part that annoys them or not. But the vocabulary and the history and the amount of knowledge that this man has, he is the best hockey commentator I've heard ever. Like, I could probably make the argument that he's the best hockey commentator ever. I mean, he's just so iconic. And he'll make the jokes and he'll laugh and he'll have a good time. That kind of stuff as an announcer, and I know we're kind of breaking off Holey Moley for a second, but like if you're listening in, you want to be a color commentator or a play-by-play guy or woman, have fun with what you're doing. Enjoy it. Have the knowledge because that transfers over to the listener, to the viewer, to the audience member. And Doc Emmerich has got to be one of the best in the business, if not the best.
Yes, he is, and they're great. I also love all the side characters they sort of developed over the course of the 2 seasons. I mean, Course Marshal Joe is hilarious. Jeannie Mae, the sideline reporter, is pretty good. And I will say they've done a much better job with Steph Curry's involvement in season 2 than season 1. Because season 1, Steph Curry just shows up, hits the golf shot, and leaves. Season 2, they basically made him he's playing like a Curb Your Enthusiasm version of Steph Curry, where he's basically saying these old ridiculous things, and they do cartoons with him. Steph Curry is much funnier season 2.
Yeah, I think they really took advantage of the opportunity to have Steph Curry as a person on that, as an actor or as a talent or a personality on that show. And I think in season 1, they had him as a kind of like a celeb shot kind of guy, like you were saying. He takes a, I don't know if you want to call it a chip, but I guess it kind of is. He'll take a shot for the person that's closest to the pin or whatever. But I think they really capitalized on the opportunity of having him being involved. And I think they pre-recorded a lot of the stuff and they did a lot of animated work with him prior to or in between his schedule for the NBA.
Yeah.
Right. So that's obviously something that you have to worry about. Because he has other obligations. And also, too, he's on a sports team. He can't just make his own schedule. The schedule's a schedule. When it comes to practices, games, if he has any endorsement deals, he's got shoots for that. He's got, interviews, a player of his status, he's a busy man. So I think they really capitalized and made sure that they got him in as much as possible. And he's funny. He does a good job. Whoever did the writing for him, or if he did his own writing, it's a fantastic job. And Course Marshal Joe has got to be my spirit animal because the dude is just, he's helping out everyone, right? And I'm a helpful kind of guy, I'd like to think. And if you haven't watched season 2, there is a particular hole where they have to do a specific dive. And whoever gets the highest score, whoever gets the highest score, you get a better pin position. And we'll talk about more when you get to the hole, but Course Marshal Joe has the funniest thing
Delivery
part of that whole hole.
Yeah.
It's perfect. But we'll talk about more when we get to the specific holes.
Yeah, Course Marshal Joe is fantastic, and you brought up Steph. One thing I was thinking about is that he was probably when they're filming this, like still rehabbing from the ACL, from the Achilles injury, so he probably couldn't do as much physical stuff. That's why I think the only time you see him in live action, he's sitting in the chair. I think that's why all the other stuff is animated.
Correct. Everything else is animated. The ending is animated as well. So when people win, you don't see them get the green, plaid jacket and the golden putter. It's more of a animated thing. The only thing that you saw it live was when they did the special Bachelor/Bachelorette show.
Yeah.
Which I'm gonna be honest with you, it had its moments, but like I can't see how that like added to anything in this. Like, there was a little bit of drama in there that made me laugh between like the person who finally won and the lifeguard, which I thought was pretty funny at the end. But like, to me, like, that didn't really add anything to Holey Moley. I think it was still just a regular episode of Holey Moley, just a different theme. It was just a good collaboration, I guess. But everything's animated for him.
Yeah, that Bachelor episode which you're talking about, where they bring on 8 single people to have them compete and then quote unquote have a chance to find love. That was entirely going to be like cross promotion for the current Bachelor season, since there is none. They kind of had to spin it off like, watch the Bachelor highlights.
It's a possibility. They were probably trying to get ratings for highlights, right? Yeah. But pretty much that episode was just a boy bracket and a girl bracket, and then the winner of the girl bracket plays against the winner of the boy bracket, and they considered that like a date.
Yeah.
And like all the funniest part of it is that all these guys and girls are trying to do these holes with obstacles in like dresses and tuxes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how are they going to do this stuff? I mean, there's one in the hole where they fling you into a pole and you have to try to catch onto it. And the dude's wearing like a 3-piece suit. I'm like, he's going to rip the suit. Like, there's no way he's coming out of this like either not injured or the suit being intact.
Yeah, definitely not. Let's go to some of our favorite running gags. So, like, I think we have to start with the diving range hole, the one you mentioned before, where basically the steam of this hole is like, before you actually get to putt on the hole, 3 competitors do a dive and are judged by, it's Greg Louganis. I forget who the second one is. And
I believe I can get the first name wrong. I think it's Steven Gutenberg.
Yeah, it's Steve Gutenberg, the second one. The third,
Steve Gutenberg, right?
And the third is Sir Goph, who's the mascot, who basically is like a giant gopher in a costume. And he's
knighted. He's knighted. His name is Sir Goph.
He's Sir Goph. And I love this because every time the third guy is a guy who was a college diver at Purdue named Joey Cifielli, or whatever his name is. And he definitely is part of the gay, where every time he does tremendous dives, he gets scored horribly and gets thrown out before actually getting the putt. I love that.
Right, and the best part is everyone is like against him except for Joe Tessitore. And Joe's like, "What does this guy have to do to get a good score?" And Robert goes like, "That was horrible." Meanwhile, he's making these dives perfectly, and these people who have never dived in their lives are doing it, and they're getting all these like scores and like praise by like the most famous diver ever, Greg Louganis, and a comedy legend, Steve Gutenberg. Like it. I think it's hysterical that they've made these running gags. I was talking about Course Marshal Joe, and Sir Goph only gives his scores in like
emojis.
Symbols.
Yeah,
emojis pretty much. So like it'll be like an acorn or whatever. And no matter what Sir Goph puts, they always go to Course Marshal Joe for like the ruling, and he always goes 4. That's all he does. It could be like 17 different emojis, and he just looks and goes 4.
Yeah.
And one time Rob was like, "I bet you it's going to be a 4," and he goes 4. And he's like, I told you. And that's like one of the funny like sarcastic bits that they have. Oh man, it's a great idea. I mean, these things like do a better dive to get a better course position. Like, who thinks of this stuff like that? That's a great idea.
Yeah, they had a lot more fun with the holes. They really went to town on all the holes this time around. And I will say the other funny gag I will joke at is that there's actually a hole this season called Uranus, and Rob Riggle cracks up every time Joe Tessitore says it. It's hysterical.
So I am not going, for the viewers, the listeners at home, I want you to look up Holey Moley and put the whole Uranus, right? And just listen to the scripted description that Joe Tessitore has to read every single time, and listen to it like you're a 5-year-old kid. Like, just honestly, just listen to it like with a funny mindset. because it is the funniest description that you could put on cable TV without like getting FCC like involved. Like it's hysterical. And Rob Riggle has the best expressions as Joe is trying to read out this description. And Joe, the first time he had to read the description out, was cracking up himself.
Yeah,
he couldn't do it. And it that hole in itself, it's not even the hole. It's just the description.
Yeah,
the way they have to like present it is the funny running gag. So phenomenal job by that production team to make this show the way it is.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. Before we go any further, I do want to have a little fun here. Let's do a mini draft here. We'll each pick 3 holes that we want to play on this course, and we're limited to what we've seen through I think the first 8 episodes of the season 2. So we haven't seen Steph Curry's secret hole yet. That's gonna be in the finale. Basically what happens is like the first season was like if you won the final hole, you won $25,000. What this time is like every episode, whoever wins advances to the finale, and they play for a shot at the final hole, which is a secret hole Steph Curry is building, and the winning putt is worth $250,000.
Right. So top 3 holes I would like to play. Right. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, we're gonna do a draft style. So I'll give you the first choice. What hole are you going first?
So just remind me too. After we talk about this, I want to talk about Steph Curry's hidden golf course or hole or whatever you want to call it.
I'll do that now before you forget.
Okay. So we actually caught a glimpse of it last episode.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone caught that, if anyone's keeping up with Holey Moley, but during like the intro or the welcome back kind of sizzle reels that they put together to like tell you what's going on, what you missed from the commercial, you actually see 2 pyramids spinning on a hole that you've never seen before, like in a corner really quickly.
Yeah.
So I think they kind of flashed that hole a little bit. So I wonder, hopefully it's more advanced than just a couple spinning pyramids, but it kind of looks like they kind of just like gave a little hint as to what it looks like. So that's a little Easter egg for you. Last episode that aired was last Thursday.
Yeah,
that's where you could see it.
Yeah, that's there. Also, one thing I forgot about the running gags is like whoever does the graphics, they are phenomenal when they put like these descriptions of the people competing. It's hilarious. Like they will give you like the most absurd thing in your bio will be your one-liner. Like,
oh yeah, the bio is great.
The bios are
great.
The bios are great. Like there was like I think last year they had a pro golfer and like I think she's called herself Kasha K and they put like Kasha K like as her bio name as her description.
Right. They definitely have a sense of humor at that show and I appreciate it.
They do. So now let's do our hole draft. Where are you picking your first hole you want to play?
All right. So if I pick a hole, does that mean you could pick it as well? How are we doing this? Are we doing this like a real draft?
It's like a real draft. Once you take a hole, I can't take it.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go with. What hole would I want to play on? I probably will go with Uranus. That would be the first hole I'd like to play on.
Yeah. Why that pick?
I think it's cool that you have to shoot it up that huge ramp and try to get it into the hole in one, kind of like to have like that little area where if you get it, it'll like get you really close to the pin. And then you have to like jump over the planets. I feel like I'd be okay at that.
Yeah, I think that would definitely be fun to try. Plus, you can always have the fun with the laughs about the hole you're playing Uranus as you try to get the ball in the hole.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a good first pick. I think I'm trying to think which I would like to do. Like I would like to try Volcano, where you putt up. It was the final hole last year. They rebranded it. Basically, you putt your ball into like a plinko thing, and you get put in either the fairway, or the bunker, whatever it is, and you have to get out there. You go down hang glide. You have to try and grab a pole on the way down. If you don't hit it, it's a 1-stroke penalty, and that looks like
that looks tough.
That's tough, but it's fun. Like I would love to be on the hang glider.
Yeah. See, if I did that, I'd probably get demolished. I'd hit the pole and then just hit the water with such speed that I'd lose my head. No, it's a good pick. All right, so that's your pick.
Yeah.
So my second hole would be, is it called Dragon's Breath?
Yes.
The one that you get caught on fire.
Yep, that one.
That one. I'd like to do that because first of all, you get to ride up on horses, which is probably the most like awesome thing. Like you just ride up on like a white stallion.
Yeah.
And then you get off and then you go to putt and then these 4 dragons just light you on fire. No big deal. Just light you on fire. I would like to do that. That seems really cool.
Yeah, that's something you can't do every day. You can't go to your local mini golf course and get lit on fire.
No, I mean, I don't condone it. Like, I don't recommend it. I mean, they obviously, like, don't try this at home. They obviously have safety precautions. Everyone's wearing, like, fireproof suits. Like, they're probably, like, wearing one fireproof suit over another. Like, they walk over and they look like they're wearing those big, like, sumo wrestling, like, fake things. You ever see those?
Yeah.
They're very protected. So definitely don't light yourself on fire while playing mini golf or ever.
Yeah.
Just as a little PSA.
Yeah. That one. Okay, that's your next one. I'm going with hole number 2, just for the... That's a good one. It's so much fun. Basically, the concept of this hole is you're putting down a narrow strip of land, like between the water and a line of porta potties, and then once you get through, you have 2.5 seconds to clear the line as you get whacked and thrown in the water. That one, just to try and get the sprint, would be fun.
Do you think Johnny Knoxville and Steve-O and like Bam Margera had like a hand in this hole?
Yes. For
some reason, just because it's a porta potty thing and like you get rocked when they open up the door. Like, it just reminds me of Jackass. I don't know why. So I feel like those three definitely had like a say in how that would go.
Yeah, I think that one is fun. And you have one more hole. Where are you going?
Okay, so there's a couple holes to choose from. I don't think I'd like to do the diving one. I definitely don't ever want to do the one where they shock the crap out of you.
Yeah,
if you miss the putt.
Yeah, you don't want that one.
That doesn't look fun at all.
No.
What else do they have? Double touch courage. I'd play. The distractor looks like it's hysterical.
Yes.
Easy. Yeah, I'll go distractor.
Yeah, because the really difficulty is not much. He's making 1 12-foot putt. The challenge is they're going to throw something crazy in your face, and you have to focus.
Right.
Yeah. Which I think the one, like my favorite distractor moment so far was when they did the fake baseball game around the people. That was funny.
The fake baseball game was really good.
Yeah.
The drill sergeant in season 1 was really good.
Yeah.
And the past episode we had can dancers, and it was funny because the two people participating in the hole joined the people doing the distracting at the end. So that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with distractor.
Yeah, I remember season 1 also, there was like a mime for the distractor, and Rod Riggle was losing his mind, like, oh my God, it's a mime. And that was just burst of the laugh.
He's in a box. He can't get out. He can't get out of the box.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. And I think there are a couple options I could go here. I mean, Buns and Wieners is fun. I do think that's pretty funny. I like the one where you have to basically do the ride the mechanical gopher, and then you have to putt around.
Yes.
That one's fun.
Yes.
But I have to go with Double Dutch Courage just because it's so classic. Every mini golf course you go to, you have the hole at the windmill, and you have to run through the windmill too. Sign me up.
Yeah, no, I agree. The only problem is this season I don't think they added a whole fan blade. I just think a whole new fan. The windmill, I think they just added a fan blade to each, so it's harder to get through.
Yeah.
I think in season 1 they had the 2 of them, but I think they added like another one because I guess it was not too easy, but people were getting through it a little more than they wanted probably. So
I think
to get that, factor in, they added another fan blade so that you can get hit and get thrown in the water.
Yeah, I think they had one windmill, but then they added a second windmill, added a blade to the first windmill. So I think they added 2 things.
Oh, is that it? Okay, maybe.
That's why they call it Double Dutch Courage now.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so I think that was fun. I would love to play those holes. And before we go,
I'd love to play Tomb of Nefertiti because I haven't seen it yet, and I'm sure it's a doozy, right? Like I'm sure they're making the final hole to be like really hard. So,
also we have to mention also before we get to our last thing here. I love that they have John Lovitz in a pirate suit, like chipping balls this year. That's hilarious.
The amount of talent they've gotten for this show is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Was it Captain Long John Lovitz?
It's Long John Lovitz.
Yeah. They blindfold the dude, and he still makes the chip. I can never do that. I can't do it with one eye patch or both off. Like that's amazing. No, he's I wish he had more speaking parts.
Yeah.
I wish he had more like freedom to like talk.
I do,
but he doesn't really say much. He just kind of just says, "You can walk the plank," or like he says, "You're first," or something.
Yeah, I think he'd be fun. And for last thing with this Holey Moley thing, let's have some fun with this. Give me one athlete you want to see play it, and give me somebody in our podcast universe you want to see play this show.
I thought about this a lot. The one athlete I'd like to see play this is Shaq. Only because to see him perform any of the obstacles is probably a treat.
Yeah.
And the other person in this podcast between me, besides me and you, would be John Stanko.
Yes.
Because I know John Stanko loves himself some golf, but I also know his reactions are priceless. And I feel like if we could get him on that golf course with us and him get like into the water a couple of times, and all of us just have some commentary to it, I feel like we'd have a blast.
Yeah, Stanko's a great pick. The athletes, just imagine Shaq trying to do hole number 2. That would be funny.
But here's the problem though. If Shaq does hole number 2, whoever opens the porta potty door that's going to hit him, he's going to barrel through it and throw the guy into the porta potty. Like Shaq is way too strong and big for that for him to go into the water. So I don't know. Maybe like something like Buns and Wieners would be funny. Double Dutch Courage would be funny. To see him play. I think.
What about Shaq and Dragon's Breath, like breathing fire on him?
No, I feel like Shaq would be good. I feel like he'd be cool. Maybe the shocking one.
Yeah. I
feel like anyone that does, like I would never do it, but I feel like anyone that does it would be funny.
Yeah, I think for me, the athlete had to be Charles Barkley. I can just imagine Charles doing all of these. That would be funnier than Shaq.
Can we get them both? Can we get them like both on the same course? Like, can we get like a whole episode dedicated to Shaq and Charles Barkley?
Yes,
and just like have them argue like about how they should do the hole, right?
Yeah.
Like just have them go back and forth. Like, no, you got to hit over here. No, you have to hit over. Like, I just want to hear that.
Yeah. I think Stanko's a great pick from our podcast universe. Trying to think of who else would be fun in this setting. I think like getting Joe D. Frazzle would be funny on this.
Joe D. Frazzle would be funny. Maybe Will Schneiderhan. Maybe.
Yeah, Schneider. I'm trying to think who else. Like, I think Sanderos would be funny.
I feel like can we just all go? Can we get that going?
Can we just do it?
Just End the Suffering podcast, like Holey Moley edition? Like, can we do that?
Yeah, I mean, we could get enough people in there. We could get like 6 of us.
All right, wait,
8 of us.
Wait, can I propose something? Like, this is for real.
Sure.
Once things calm down with COVID, vaccine, treatment, whatever, and people can comfortably go out and do stuff, can we get the Just Out in the Suffering podcast crew to do a vlog at a mini golf course and just play against each other?
Yeah, we got getting it down to like a group of like 8 is going to be hard, but like once we could narrow it down.
We could do it. We could do me, you, Stanko, and Joe D at first, and then we can start adding people.
Yeah.
Like we could just do like that. Oh my God, how fantastic would that be? That'd be hysterical. That
would be fun. And I think I like a lot of these people. I think John Stanko is the clear winner though from our podcast universe.
I agree.
All right, Pete. Thanks all the time. I really appreciate it. Before I let you go, how can people follow you on social media? Keep up with some of the stuff you're up to.
Yeah, so it's COVID season, I guess if you want to call it. So I've just been on Twitter retweeting at PJ Consadori 29. You want to follow me on Instagram, Peter J392. Got a lot of hockey posts, personal hockey posts from me and my team. I like to retweet a lot on Twitter. So yeah, give me a follow.
All right, thanks, Pete. I really appreciate it.
All right, thanks for having me, man. It was a lot of fun.